how to approach this question. Orthogonal grid. Okay, so in this case, you need to know all the different traditional planning forms. And if you're not aware, then it is slightly difficult to make a guess here. But swastika is not an orthogonal grid if you are aware how it is in the form. Manish sir, how would you like to approach this paper, this question, to solve and get the right answer if someone isn't aware?
See, we need to think on this orthogonal. You at least have to have some information about this orthogonal grid. This is at 90 degrees, so you can think of in that way. And plus, among the options are repeated most. Then you need, if you know the answer, otherwise you have to make a informed choice.
Okay, so here you can easily eliminate this mandala. It's not a grid, definitely not a grid. It's a circular kind of thing. It's a curved form. Padmaka also you can just think of that, and Sastika is not an orthogonal grid. And finally, you are only, I think these are the two options which are the most confusing, because sometimes Dhanurmasti and all these, this is something which we haven't, no, it's not a very commonly common form that we have seen. So because of that, there might be little confusion in these two. But again, someone who has some idea about these two, because these two are very popular, then you will know that these are orthogonal grids. And even if you know one of them, you will be able to solve this question. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Kevin Lynch, 5 basic elements. I think this is a repeated question again from GATE and a lot of other papers also. So what are the 5 elements of Kevin Lynch image of a city? It's pathway, it's already, I think you would be aware of this, edges, landmarks, and these intersections, nodes. So these are the parts of the cities. And here to approach this, again, you can see the number of times it's appearing repeatedly. But again, one more thing I would like to say here is that communities and buildings. This could not be basic elements. Okay, community itself is a big, you can say a number of people together. Okay, and so it cannot be a basic element. Markets together cannot be a basic element, I think. So if I had to solve this and eliminate, I would have used these words. Landscape, landmarks appearing twice doesn't make sense. Okay, so these two can be easily eliminated. Now the question can be between these two. Okay, so here you have to make a decision that if you consider people as element, so you should know how Kevin Lynch has defined it, the image of a city. Okay, so basically these are the main elements that you see in a city. Okay, built. The second one is not an option. Pathways, districts, edges, landmarks, and nodes. Okay, that is what contributes the 5 qualities which Kevin Lynch had identified in a city. Okay, and these help you create your mental image. Okay, so this the whole concept of this was you have a mental image. You normally make images through lines and nodes, dots, and shapes and forms. That's why the elements have been taken as such. Okay, a book is Image of a City by Kevin Lynch. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. If this is, I think this should be clear that how to approach this question. Okay, the terminologies are important. Like I said, elements is important here because elements cannot be a group or a big. Okay, so it's a repeated question in. Okay, this another important highlight about this question is this is the question that has been repeated in RPSC as well and GATE. GATE, I've already GATE question, it has already been there, but it's also a repeated question in RPSC. So I think Kevin Lynch, I mean, this is an important concept that you should know. The question may be tweaked a little, but can appear again. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. V7 concept of hierarchy of roads. Again, this is also a repeat question from both GATE and RPSC. Okay, So this V7 concept of roads is for Chandigarh. Okay, so I think you must be aware. For Delhi, there is nothing as such because it's anyways in a the form of the city is not as such that we have divided road into so many hierarchy. You know that. Okay, the general hierarchy is there. So if you're aware of these cities, this doesn't have in detailed hierarchy. V7 concept was basically for Chandigarh, which is in the gridiron form given by Le Corbusier, and the streets have been divided into seven hierarchy. So what are those seven? Just give me 1 second. So just I think it's I think okay, so it must be there somewhere here. Okay, so the V1 to V7, we keep on going to the low, like from the highest hierarchy to the lowest hierarchy. Okay, so you see the highlights here. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So now we are coming to government acts, schemes, policies, and guidelines. This is also something that has a lot of questions appearing in the RPSC paper. Okay, so this includes central government acts. Okay, so again, we will also come to Rajasthan, the building bylaws, which I was talking about, which is also very important. This is central government acts, schemes, policies, and guidelines. Again, a lot of questions have come from these areas. Okay, this is at the national level or the policies and other guidelines. IHS DP program of government aims at okay, so how to approach this question? Okay, so you have to try to think of the full form here. Okay, so normally these kind of questions, they they deliberately give you the short form so that you are not able to identify easily. But if you just look at the letters, you can think, okay, it may give you an insight. It could be in housing or it could be slum. But if housing, for housing, there is no such plan. If if you just go with that. Okay, so and here you can see it's written slum relocation in situ development of slum. Okay, slum relocation is not something that government is or would like to take up normally. It's the in situ development of slum that is normally the program the government tries to push through. Okay, so we can think of this. Otherwise, slum is the keyword here. If you just get to know what S could stand for. Increasing low-cost housing and development of educational institutes. Here, this option is not of any relevance because there is no E here or anything to do with education. And increasing low-cost housing, I think this, that all the mostly housing yojanas have Awas or something like that in it. So it couldn't be housing as well. So you can just, slum is appearing twice, so you can make a choice, guess between these two. Okay, so these two could be the option. The slum relocation is something that is not in that government would have. Okay, so it would be in situ development of slum. Anything you want to add, Manish sir, here?
I told you we need to think of the full form. So it is integrated housing and slum development program. I want to tell you the full form. Exact full form is integrated housing and slum development program. So if you try to think of the full form, and in the option, if you see which particular term is repeating, in the options we can say ki slum is repeating. So most probably some slum could be the options has slum may be the answer. So 3 or 4 options could be eliminated based on the informed choice. Then if it look at the question, then we can assume that option 1 is correct. That
right. But again, it's your discretion because sometimes it may confuse. Different people may have different. Because I knew that it couldn't be these two, so I may have to make a choice between these two. So it depends. If you are sure that there are only two options that you're confused between, then you can make an attempt in case your overall question numbers are not sufficient, or they're not more than 80 or 90. Okay, then you can attempt this. Just try to think of the full form, okay? And Don't spend too much time on it also, because we have very limited time. So this could be a second. If you're not sure, then go in the second attempt or the third. Now let's move on to the next question. We would be giving you the notes also, so you will be able to go through the detail about each of these answers that we have given. Rajiv Awas Yojana. Okay, Rajiv Awas Yojana. Just give me 1 minute to clear. Okay, so we will be taking a 5-minute break at 9 p.m. after a while, so that you guys can refresh and then we'll be back. For now, let's just solve this question. And Rajiv Awas Yojana. So, like I said, Awas word is here, so you can make your guess here. What do you think would be the answer? So, clean toilets has got nothing to do with Awas Yojana again. Again, this interest-free housing finance is also not option. Housing for rural India and slum-free area. Slum is again here, if it is Rajiv Awas Yojana, which answer? Slum, it's not to do with the slum, but sorry, I'm so sorry. I was saying that, okay, clean toilets is not an option. Housing finance is not an option. Slum-free India and housing for rural India. Okay, so this is basically to do with the rural area, this particular Yojana. But I don't know how I can tell the right answer here is slum-free India. Okay, but how to go about this question? Can you, sir, Manish sir, can you tell how we can decide between these two?
Perfect answer is only the information you know. Rest you can eliminate the two options, and then based on your instincts you need to choose among the options. Okay,
Right.
so you need to choose between 1 and 2. That's your own risk of getting
Right.
it correct or getting it wrong. But if you know, that's best. It's a great repeated question.
Okay. Okay, again, you can do one thing. If you already know all the housing schemes in India, okay, then you would be in a better place to tell that this is not going to be the answer. Okay, if you are aware that, okay, what PMAY is and what other housing schemes are all about, then you can say, okay, it wouldn't be, Rajiv Awas Yojana wouldn't be for housing for rural India. But then again, it is only a way of looking at it. It's your discretion, okay, whether you want to, whether you have a, whether you want to go with this question or not. Silly mistakes might happen here because it's to do with Awas and then rural India is written here. But if you know that what are the main housing policies already in existence, then you wouldn't be having this issue, this confusion. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, so this is the main aim of objective of RAY. Okay, so this is slum-free India. Okay, Mohammed scheme, survey of interest. You can just go through this. All this will be provided to you even in your notes, detailed notes.
This is one of the Swamiti scheme is one of the latest scheme. So please remember, please clean the screen. It is not getting done from my end.
I'll
Shivangi, please clean the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one of the latest scheme. So please remember this scheme. I think this is one of the important scheme and it may come in the exam. Okay, this is the latest scheme of 2020 in the National Panchayati Raj Day. Okay, and then there are other schemes. So you will get those schemes in notes and try to remember those schemes. This is taken from this website and you can visit this website and can read in detail about the Swamiti scheme.
Okay, this might also be a very important topic. It can come.
Because it is of 2020.
Right.
It's related.
Yes. So all the new schemes also we have to keep an eye on. Okay. Next. This is also one scheme which is important. Okay, so all this will be given to you. You can read through it. What is the Marisa, if you would like to say something on this?
These are the old schemes, and I would like to tell everybody Please remember about the basic concepts of these schemes to ensure the public participation in rural areas. So these kind of schemes are related to the rural areas. Okay. So now government is working on these rural areas.
Right.
Okay. Ahead.
Urban mission. This also you should remember. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Urban Mission. So we will also see questions around this. There is basically this is the phase-wise clusters have been selected under this mission. So we will see questions coming from this. Okay. In an important mission, you should remember the name also, the full name of these missions, so that you don't get confused when the short form appear. Okay, let's move on to the next question now. Okay, there are few more yojanas. I can go through them later on. Since we have a little less time, we won't discuss this in detail. Okay, but this is important because it's a major road construction project of Rajasthan government. So again, this has some priority because it is from Rajasthan, so it's important to know this.
In 4 cities of Rajasthan, two will be taken into lots in smart city mission. Next slide.
Okay, next.
This to Jaipur and Udaipur has been taken into. This is the pilot project of Modi government smart city program. So remember what are those 4 cities. So question may come in the exam, which among the following is not one of the smart city program. So they can give 3 among these cities and 1 is the 4th city of Rajasthan they might give. So remember, please at least these 4 names of these 4 cities.
Yeah, this is very important. This might appear in the paper. Pay attention to these 4 cities. At least remember the names of these 4.
And here in this question, Ajmer Rajasthani Hriday scheme has been taken. So just remember the name of this city. It has been taken in under the Hriday scheme.
And Hriday is the heritage
rejuvenation.
Yeah, heritage rejuvenation and infrastructure development and augmentation.
Augmentation.
Yeah. So this particular scheme is also important. You can read through it, but we should know that Rajasthan is already a part of the scheme.
Under Ajmer city is under it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Ajmer city and Rajasthan is part of this.
Just move ahead.
Okay, what is the role of RERA? Okay, so this Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, this is abbreviated as RERA, and I think most of you would be aware that this was a lot in light a little time back. So here, if you look at the options, you can easily be able to tell that this is to do with facilitating land market improvement, because RERA is basically for properties. Like, if you are aware that it is for development. It's word itself tells you real estate to do with land, right? So we can make that assumption also. And otherwise also, if you're aware, what RERA's main function is to definitely not slum aggregation or urban poverty alleviation. Definitely not these two. And urban amenities and facilities. Again, this is not what a real estate act would do. So you can easily eliminate these options and get to the right answer. Okay, so I think this is it. This doesn't need much explanation. We'll go to the next one. What is the time now? Okay, we'll do 2 more questions and then we'll give a break. Okay, so now the PMAY, which is of course the most famous policy that we have at national level. Okay, so PMAY is to do with urban road. Which one is not? Okay, here this is the main thing here. It's not highlighted. So you have to be very careful. It's saying is not a part of PMAY. Okay, so here if you look at it's a housing program, and most of these have a housing in it. And also you can just, if you know the parts of PMAY, there are basically divided in 4 parts. Okay, so out of which these are the 3, and it's got nothing to do with road development. So this is very evident, I think. This is an odd one out, as well as something that the Awas Yojana will not be working on. So it's a housing for all, and by 2022. Okay, PMAY, this question also appears in the gate. Sometimes PMAY questions come, but in different ways. So it could be sometimes for telling that which one of these is for housing for all. So PMAY would be given as an option without the full form. So you might have to make that yes, make that answer, get that answer right. Okay, now let's move on to the next question and let's give a break after that. Okay, since this is a very simple question, because even if you know one of these, you'll be able to solve. This kind of question generally appears in the GATE papers also. We are taking a 5-minute break after this question. Thank you, sir. Okay, so here, if you just know PMAY, then also I think you will be able to solve it. So because A will get 1, 2 of the options will be your, you would already be able to eliminate 2 options. And even if you know Hriday is to do with heritage, I think that would solve the answer. Okay, so that is the main thing. If you know some of these, it would help you to find the final answer. And I think all these 4 are very popular. There is none, all of them have come, all the easy ones are there. So you can, even if you know some of them, you would be able to solve this question. And I don't think this needs much explanation. Keep it this, because this has been appearing a lot many times in GATE. Our focus should be that we cover all the national level policies and yojanas that have come, whatever schemes are there. Okay, so this has to be on your fingertips so that it is, because a lot of questions come from these areas. Okay, so this is the urban mission. So this is the rural cluster, because I just talked about the cluster development thing. Okay.